And welcome back to another community update so soon. I am glad to have our CEO, Tufi Saliba, here with me today. And Tufi, I want to start this update with a question, and that is you said something while I was on a call with you and a bunch of other people here with the company, and you talked about the speculatory nature of tokens having kind of come and gone, and that the real job now is to provide actual value, and that nodes and the market for nodes is where you see the largest gains over the next X amount of years, because these are actual infrastructure plays if any of these actual products take off. Could you elaborate on that and just share some of your insights to where you think that may be going and how that ties into what hypercycle is quickly approaching to do?
Absolutely. Thanks, Jerry. As you know, we're agnostic to our clients. Most of our clients, they happen to be from, non-crypto, at least 90% that they're, never really done anything with the crypto, but that doesn't mean that we ignore those that they are crypto. We truly welcome all clients. However, we've noticed that the vast majority of the clients that they are from the crypto world, they seem to be very well attached to the whole token play type of thing. And we've noticed repeatedly many people, they feel like being on a certain exchange is extremely important versus another exchange. And sometimes when you get so deep into certain category in the world, folks, they get to see it as if it's like such a um, big deal to be on like some exchange. But the question is that folks would ask you from outside of the crypto world, what is the utility that something is on an exchange? If it's towards onboarding, this is great. Like it helps people to be onboarded, to be clients or enable certain functionality or whatnot. But if it's towards like speculative things, it's although it might be appealing to some people in the crypto space, but remember, Jerry, in the world as we live today, less than 1% of the world is penetrated by crypto. Sometimes people, they like to stretch this a bit and say it's like 5%, 6%, whatnot. Well, anyone can run quick stats, walk around the streets, pretend that you're not a crypto person and ask random people across the globe and see if they are really doing their work in crypto or they're doing it with traditional banking. So the reality remains that crypto penetrations in the world is less than 1%. Let's say it's less than 10%. Okay, let's give them benefit of doubt, less than 10%. Okay. So the remaining 9%, when they actually look at the things that are happening in the crypto that has been going around for about 14, 15 years, it's a bit laughable. And we all know, like, the people, they start looking at them as if it's like, okay, from every single scheme that you could think of is already in that category. And then they kind of like really look at it in a very bad way. And we don't like that because many of those, they are our clients, right? But it's like, but that's the reality in the world today. So going back to that reality, what matters the most when you're actually doing any work? Is that work adding value to people, or is it actually subtractive and taking away? So, if you want to tell me that all of this crypto that is less than 10% of the world has like more exchanges than what it is in that 90% of the world, and then maybe there's something going on here that it's probably um, um, maybe inflated or whatnot. Many people that are in crypto world, they kind of know like the whole self-circulating things that whether it's tokens or whatnot. It's very transparent to almost any computer scientist from outside of the crypto. They think they could fool anyone, but every time you bring in computer scientists, they kind of look into those kind of things like, wait, what? These people, they're talking about volume, they're talking about like all kind of stuff, but they're kind of like putting things in, um, kind of circles and keep like circulating them or whatnot to kind of create this whole fake things that they're as if they are much bigger than they really are. So, but yeah, sure, that's happening, but there's some that they're actually really good business that they are in the crypto world, and we feel if they're coming in to be clients of ours, and we want to enable them to cross that bridge towards a lot of greatness that they offer, whether they provide compute or whether they provide selling tools towards compute. That's great. They use the crypto as an onboarding to sell their stuff. Some of them they call themselves deepin, some of them they call themselves all kind of tools. Actually, if you would find there. Um, so yeah, I think we feel it's a great opportunity to kind of partner with many of those and enable them to kind of cross that bridge and provide the real value to um, the world as we know it, and not have some sort of like a wall that it's like they only provide things for the crypto people, or like people that are not crypto they provide. So we're agnostic. We provide to everyone. And when it comes to the node, so we've been referring to it as like the whole preparation towards like the node release that or the node market release. And some people, they think that it's like just like simply the node market IO, which is like where they as you know, like they sell the vast majority of our um, node the licenses. But in the same time, uh, there's something that is happening that we call the node market release, which means that our community of 3,600 owners of nodes perhaps would benefit from having a release to the rest of the world. So it's not like us just as a company, or just you and me as two people, or like 300 people as a company, or it's that community 3,600. Maybe they need to release those nodes to the rest of the world, because the world can be millions of developers and perhaps like billions of agents. So every agent, every AI agent that exists in the world today, whether it is a micro agent or macro agent, they can benefit from having access to that Internet of AI, and that's what a node owner provides. If you have a node of Hypercycle, it's a basically connectivity that can enable them to have access to that Internet of AI. So the current node owners, Jerry, as you well know, they are owners of factory of nodes. The smallest node owner has a factory of 1,024 nodes. So it's like, so one node factory. It's let's remove the token, please, from that thing. It's like the license. It's the tokens is more like an enabler to get that going. This is the bridge that I'm talking about to kind of get people on the onboarding mechanism. But if you own a node factory, you actually own the ability to manufacture 1,023 nodes. Now, some people that they are thinking that they can compete with that, they come and say, it's like, you know what? This business, they enable these people to manufacture nodes. What does that mean, manufacturer? I want to have the ability to provide them with nodes that they are for free. So imagine somebody comes in and says, Jerry, these guys, they're selling you node factory, but I'm going to give you nodes that they are for free. So what do you tell somebody that's going to give you something for free, Jerry?
Nothing's for free. That's the first thing.
Right.
That's my first response.
Right.
Nothing's for free.
Right. What's in it for you? That's a fair question. What's in it for you? How are you going to be self-sustaining? You might be able to give me something for free today. Maybe you're going to screw me tomorrow. Maybe you're hiding some fees. Maybe you're hiding something somewhere. Okay. We've seen it in the existing internet that says to the world, hey, it's free to be on the internet. And it turns out it turns people into products, and everybody starts complaining afterwards, like, oh my God, what did you do to my children? Oh my God, what did you do to my grandchildren? And this and that. And people, they started realizing like what kind of Moloch we got ourselves into. Having said that, there's a lot of greatness from the internet. And of course, you take the greatness and not necessarily all like the bad stuff. But point is that we know there is nothing free. And we know that if you have a node factory that requires effort and time to manufacture nodes, someone's going to come and always create something that is free and try to pretend that it is better than you. And those that they are uh, deep in computer science, they understand that like there is nothing that is free. Actually, they're deep into any thinking. They realize that there's nothing that is free, but it's and it's even people that they are in crypto, people that they know that how many times people they came and said like, oh, what's this Bitcoin code? I can give you one that is free. I can fork Bitcoin, and it becomes like so much more powerful than Bitcoin. And then we've seen it over and over and over, and then what comes out of it? It's not really um, anything that people remember. Like Bitcoin's been forked thousands of times, and nothing really has been of any value. So, um, so anyway, so going back to the point when you actually have solid community, they're building certain connectors and structure to the internet, and very naive people with very little thinking, they come in and say, oh, this is how we're going to go and like take this down or whatnot. This community is already enough resilient, and they've built a lot of immunity against those, but at the same time it's growing quite rapidly. Like, you know, every time I talk to community member, they're already thinking of how they can have like few hundred of their people to become like node operators and node owners and so on and so forth, because people, they are very well connected, and those that they have very good credibility, and you know, they seem to stay together for much longer period. Those that believe in a win-win, they end up like getting themselves together for much uh, stronger and longer term. Those that are into win-lose, they end up like, you know, colluding for a bit, but then end up like screwing each other on the way out. And it's kind of like that. Um, um, I mean, you've seen a lot of movies, and I'm sure you've seen like how that Joker on the way out of the robbing a bank is shooting each other out.
Yeah.
It's just that you know, people, they get to choose if they want to be on the good side or bad side, and luckily we live in a world that the goodness is what win in the end, because of it is some people might say it's philosophical or whatnot, but in the end of the day, it is what really got us to be this civilization that um, govern this planet. Is our cooperative level that got us to the point that we are today. So if you were to think about it through each and every evolution of time, it's the goodness win against the bad ones, is because as time progresses, the bad ones end up screwing each other. So every time people, they provide you with the win lose, they tell you, Jerry, but you're on my side. We're winning and they're losing, right? It's okay. We're together. We win, they lose. But do you know what's gonna happen? You're gonna turn your back, and they're gonna say that to each other afterwards, and then they're gonna stab you in the back. So I really think that our community has been strong and resilient towards that, and I really think 3,600 might be small number globally, but I think it's good enough to have an actual node market release, and we're really working on it in a way that um, many true financial experts, they see what would the total value of that node market if it's going to go in, you know, enable like billions and billions of nodes around the world. Like is a start would be $14 billion, $25 billion, whatever it is. That I don't know, but what I do know is that both of those numbers are very, very small when you talk about like billions of nodes to be powered, and that's like the financial aspect of it. Some people, they'd like to discount that or ignore it as if it's non-existent because they like to be purists in computer science, and I respect that as well. They're focusing on computer science matter, but in the world that we live in today, we need to take that very seriously, because the same way biologists, when they're looking at every single um you know, nutrients very seriously, when it comes to the AI agents, money is nutrient. So people, they really need to take that component very seriously. So they see it's like if you have a node factory and you manufacture 1023 nodes, and your competitor is going to come and say like, oh, I'm going to give you 1023 nodes for free to kind of take your business down. Believe me, they will not stand a chance. They will just create vapor. If anything, they will enable you or many people to start getting connection to you, because they're gonna go and get a market for you. They're gonna go and say to a lot of people they've never heard of that. You're gonna give them free nodes, and when they take this free node, they power their agent, they start getting into that internet of AI, and they're gonna realize, ah, damn, that's where their catch is. Maybe I should actually get a node that there's real, engineering behind it, and people that are working towards something that is super solid. So, um, you know, that's basically what I'd like to say, because our listeners here, uh, if you would think about them, they're, you know, those that they want to see us succeed, that they're working together from the 3,600 owners of nodes. Those are our people, and we want to see them grow and all that. And then there's those that they're on the fence. They want to come in on the other extreme, right? So that we want to bridge those. Now, the in between, there are the haters, but I think the haters, they're just sometimes because they misunderstood. It's okay. Maybe they will understand one day. Maybe it is in their nature. They just haters because they just hate anything that is not theirs, or they just hate anything that is not invented into their labs, or they just hate it because, in general, it's the misunderstanding. If they were to understand it, they will adopt it, same as any technology. Like you must misunderstand the internet. You think it's evil, and then you're like, okay, well, maybe some aspects of the internet is evil, some aspects are great. It turns out to be true. Some aspects are great, some aspects are evil. So it's it's no different here. Just it's worth noting that we're thinking quite seriously about that node market release, because it is truly geared towards the everyone on the internet, whether you're running a node that behind the scenes you have the entire Microsoft AI. Like today, right now, we have folks that are actually running nodes, and behind the scenes they have the entire Microsoft AI. And guess what? They don't really require the permission of Microsoft CEO. Do you want me to go and use this or whatnot? The beauty of the nodes that we've built is they're able to do that and be part of the internet of AI that we're building. So Microsoft cannot stop it, because they continue abiding by the rules of Microsoft. They pay for every single API call and so on and so forth. Now, if they swap it to Google, it's still the same. If they can have both Microsoft and Google and do some sort of like emergence from both, that hasn't happened yet, the emergence on the side on one node, but I can envision that it can happen very soon. We're truly trying to build that internet of AI for everyone, and we're not going to own the internet of AI. I can assure you, there are going to be a lot of people that they actually follow the proper protocol and then build those things and connections or whatnot. And they may take a single node that you've got and power an entire, open AI company or closed AI company. We're agnostic. We're building the network for AI to AI, and we continue doing that. Started as a company, and then we continue doing that as a community, and that's why there are community factories that they continue building those. So yeah, so that's let's start bringing all of those that they are on the fence on board, and let's hope that the haters, that they're not necessarily haters for a long time, because we've all seen haters, they end up hating each other if they're adamant haters. But if they're haters because they don't understand it, maybe they need to give it a chance and maybe understand it. It's like, look, if you don't understand it because you don't like Tufi's beard, well, maybe you can like Jerry's beard. Or if you don't understand it because like somebody tried to kind of manipulate your head into being a hater, or let's hate these guys, let's hurt them and this and that, well, maybe you need to take a deep breath, and then, or I don't know, just in general, we're noticing very few are haters, but in general, when there's very few haters, they're like too active. Like many of our community members, they tell us like, "What's up with that Chiquita? It's like walking around and saying all the bad stuff about you guys. What's up with that dude saying all the bad stuff?" And then but eventually they either die off or they kill each other, or they realize that, holy shit, we were so mistaken. Maybe we need to partake in building this internet of AI. There's nothing wrong with Microsoft. There's nothing wrong with Google. There's nothing wrong with Singularity Net. There's nothing wrong with OpenAI, all of those, they're working really hard to build those components that can be part of that global brain. Let's welcome the beauty of them and not the bad stuff that they've got. It's there's a lot of beautiful things that are being built, and let's build secure connections and enable them to talk to each other, emerge, compete, cooperate, collaborate. That's what we're here for. We continue building great technology, and we continue growing that community. So that's where we're at.
Right on. Thank you. I I hope to someday get you down for a longer and more in-depth conversation, not necessarily about hypercycle specifically, but the context and the drive behind creating an open and permissionless network for AI, and maybe
Hmm.
even include a history lesson in why the internet has been so valuable as
Hmm.
opposed to AWS being valuable or Google being valuable or
Right,
one
right.
company being valuable.
Oh,
The
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be a really good conversation to have because it's so much is the ethos of Hypercycle as a
Hmm.
company, right? We're not we're not a charitable organization. We are trying to make money, but the way to do it is so egalitarian. It's we
Hmm.
understand we only get more valuable when John Smith builds something on it that adds value to Donna Smith or
Hmm.
Pete Rose or this person, and how each of everybody who's going
Right.
to be building or bringing their agents to our network, how that value stack starts to accrue, not to any one person particularly over everybody else, but
Hmm.
how all of us benefit from a larger, more robust internet of AI.
Right,
I mean,
right.
this
Absolutely. That,
concept
that's that's
gets
that's
talked
the
enough
part that
about.
haters, yeah, that's the part that haters they don't seem to get. It's like that there's a lot more on the side of win-win, like a lot more than on the side of like the win-lose. So they sometimes like to get stuck into like their own way and think that they deserve a lot more for existing in this world than than a tree or than they need more oxygen than like if you were to compare, let's say, like a Homo sapien who's trying to get more in this world than a goat and want to fight a goat because the goat's taking more oxygen than the human. Of course, yeah, I mean, like they end up fighting with the goat. That's fine. That's their battle. But the vast majority of human, they realize that the battle is not necessarily to fight who's going to get more than a goat, because those goats, when we grow them, they end up having great farms, end up being good for all of us. And so yeah, I really think that it's we evolved to run in this planet because of our cooperative level. So I really think that sorry, I need to give example of the goat, but you know how it is. Like some people, they get so fixated over something that they feel like they um, they they just can't comprehend, thinking that we uh, you know happen to govern this planet because of our cooperative level. So maybe we should cooperate a little bit more and then build great things, and try to look at the win-win as opposed to like a win-lose. They keep trying to narrow their thinking and finding like win-lose, win-lose. They cannot comprehend that you're trying to actually build something that is a win-win. They can't comprehend it. They think it's like you're still trying to get them somehow. You know. Meanwhile, you've provided them with like enough oxygen and goat milk for them, and they're it's yeah. Anyway, so long story short is that we continue building this as a community. We continue growing it. We continue adding value, and we continue knowing that we're going to see a lot of people that are going to misunderstand us and try to obstruct us from doing what we're doing. So we just hope that the community can work closely together to build more resilience and immunity. Um, so, when it comes to free versus paid, I really caution people anytime somebody tells you free. to really ask that questions like what's in it for you, and if it's something that is transparent of what you pay for it and what it actually gives you. You're building like a farm, you're buying a piece of land, you're doing something. But if somebody comes in and says like, here, I'm going to give you a piece of land for free, or I'm going to give you like a farm for free, you may need to ask those questions and see where that is going. Somebody comes in and says that like, oh, look at that, like get rich quick scheme or whatnot. There's no such thing. If you own a node, Jerry, and you don't put it to work, that node is not gonna grow and make you money. Like it's just, you can take the node factory today and put it under your bed and wait 10 years, and it would still be a node factory as it is. If you were to put it to work, which goes back to the very first question that you asked, certain folks, they've calculated that a single node factory, and again, this is based on existing financial people that they calculate those things, whether they are right or wrong. This is not my thing to, people can follow the numbers and can check them out and see if that makes sense. So let's take one node factory. Okay. If a node generates, let's say $10 a month in revenue, that's $120 a year, right? And if you were to ask like private equity folks saying like, hey, this is something that is generating $120 a year as a business, how much is that business is worth? If it's recurring revenue or whatnot, they might see it and say it's like, okay, well, usually they do like the 10x, and they say it's worth $1,200 as a business, right? Now, that node factory over time ends up, people, they know how the mechanics work. It's kind of like you build very good presence in the market where you have a heartbeat available the entire time. Along with, you build the additional elements such as like computation that's accelerates the growth of your factory, reputation accelerates even further. But even if you just take something that people are familiar with, is called tilling. Okay, so let's compare A to B.
Okay.
One has been tilling for about 1 year, meaning that it's been telling this entire network, I exist every 15 seconds, and a heartbeat. I exist. This is how long it takes for me to get from here to there to here, and all that. And it's learning about the rest of the network as well. Every 15 seconds, learning about the entire environment and letting the entire environment know about it. And it keeps doing that. Keeps on boom, boom, boom. Okay. Then there's another dude who comes in with that free node and said, hey, I also exist in a network. Now they both have, everything else is equal. Let's assume everything else is equal. They're running, both of them compute. This provides you with compute of like how to, let's say, translate, Aramaic into Hebrew. Okay, they're both doing the same compute. They decided to go the same. And as an intelligent being, whether you are an AI agent to choose or you're Homo sapien, if you want to choose between those two, A versus B, which one would you choose to run your compute?
The one with better reputation, the one that I know that does the job, the one that I can see a success rate, I can see a track record, a history.
Right, but like right now, we're not talking about reputation yet. We're talking about the only two things that exist. This guy's got this heartbeat for the entire year, every 15 seconds, been sending, and then you know that they can run computer. You know that they know the network. You know they can run back and forth and how fast it is, whatnot. Versus somebody who you don't know anything about, like just like came up.
The one with a reputation.
Oh, so you're counting that to be a reputation? Okay, that's great. I think it could fall on the reputation, but some people like that, they call it like proof of uptime, which is, but it's got a lot more than uptime. So I think you're right from that perspective. But yeah, so that's basically, it is obvious that people, they get to choose this just based on that alone. So when you incorporate additional elements into that, which is how fast it is to run from this node to the next and back and forth, when you know how much it is telling the other nodes, how much it can compute, and all of those additional elements, of course, you're going to choose one that has built that network or whatnot. Now you add additional elements to it. If it's able to give you proof that it ran 30,000 compute in the last year, it doesn't matter what you know about compute, the proof that it ran 30,000 compute has been requested and random. That on its own also accelerate its growth in why you would choose it. And of course, the third element is the actual reputation, meaning when it ran compute, what did they think about it? Did they think it is good or not good? Like those kind of things,
Like, did it comply
So
to the smart contract? Right? Did it comply to the smart contract? Did it actually transmit the value? All of
exactly,
these
exactly,
metrics
exactly.
or factors.
So
Yeah.
that's an added. That's like number three. And on its own, it's actually on its own. If you have that on its own, it's useless. I shouldn't say useless. It's useful, but it's not. It's just as useful as the first one. Each and every one of those, they have same power into how much they grow your factory. Okay. And if people did read the white paper, each and every one of those, they can give you like up to 1.26, 1.26, 1.26. I mean, they can grow up to 2, each and every one on their own, but that's it. It doesn't go beyond 2. And there's a reason for that. But together, if it's 1.6 multiplied by 1.6 multiplied by 1.26, then you can get to the 2, and you can get that is what gets you to have the first node in that factory. So following that math again, if each and every one of those nodes are making $10 a month, you have 2 of them. And then you do the same for all the 1,023 nodes over the course of 5 years or 10 years. So let's say 6 years. Now you have 1,024 nodes. Each and every one of them is making $10 a month in revenue. So it's a business that is making you about $120,000 a year in revenue.
Right.
So that business, if you were again to go and ask private equity folks how much is that business worth, they tell you that business is worth $1.2 million. So let's say at that point you tell them, yeah, but I also have like some additional tokens in that. Here's what they're gonna tell you. So how much? Okay, you have 1,000 tokens. So how much you're telling me the token is worth? How much? $100 at the time? Let's say it's worth $100 the token in 6 years. Okay. So you're gonna add $100,000 on top of the 1.2 million that we're giving you. That's what the private equity guy is gonna tell you. Do you really want to do that? Like, or let's say you say, okay, fine, you know what? Like, let's scratch the tokens out of the equation. Let's settle the deal. Give me $1.2 million, and that business is yours. My point is the beauty of what we've built here, Jerry, is that this entire play has nothing to do with token or crypto or whatnot. People, they use that to onboard. When you're building a business that it's worth a lot more on its own, can run on its own, regardless of what the token is worth, $0 or $100, your business is worth 1.2 million. You're happy with that business. Now, if you have, of course, thousands of those businesses, that's great. You've got the $1 billion business. Fantastic. Do you really want to go and try to, you know, fight of like, oh, but yeah, but it has this additional little token. Maybe people they do that, which is great, good for all of us. In fact, like it's an additive thing, but it's not on its own. It's going to give you the business. What gives you the business? You're running it. It's generating revenue and it's growing. So that's my story for today.
I like it.
33 minutes and 33 seconds. Are we good?
I think we are great. And so until the next
Awesome.
community update, folks, thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already liked
Perfect.
and subscribed to the channel, please do so. Make sure you follow us on X. Tufi, we'll make sure that we have your X account in the description down below if people would like to go and follow.
No, none of my ex are interested into being part of this.
Smart ass.
I'm just kidding.
All right.
Yeah.
So for wherever you are
Okay.
on the planet, wherever you
Twitter,
are.
X, whatever you want to call it.
All right. Until next time, Pura Vida.
Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right.